welcome to Cook to Nourish. Wish you a very happy new year. Today, as the first recipe for this year, I am bringing you a delicious curry recipe, and that's of butter chicken. And this is Paleo and AIP as well as Keto, Whole30, because it's dairy free as well as nightshade free. Now I am going to, while showing this recipe, I'm going to add a little bit of Kashmiri chili peppers and a little bit of cumin, which are non-AIP spices. However, you could make a strict version of this, strict AIP version of this curry, and it is absolutely delicious. I have made that. In fact, I developed this recipe specifically to make a AIP version of butter chicken. And now, because I have reintroduced Kashmiri chili peppers, which is a nightshade, I occasionally will add a little bit of it, but it's not required. Okay, the second thing I want to talk about is the spices that we are using here. I'm using two different spices, or rather unusual spices, which you may not have heard of. One of them is kasuri methi, or dried fenugreek leaves, and this, a little of it goes a long way. It just has abundance of flavor, but it can also be bitter, so I would recommend you start with a little bit at a time. And this recipe uses a moderate amount, and if you feel you want to start by a little, you will cut it down further. The other spice that I use is dagat ful, or it's also called a stone flower, and it is actually a type of fungus which is used as a spice in Western Indian cuisine. And that's it, guys. So let's get started.
I have about 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs. I prefer thigh, and cut into 1 by 2 inch bite-sized pieces. Now next I'm going to make the ginger garlic paste, and I make this fresh using fresh garlic cloves, about 6 pieces of garlic, and about like a 1 by 2 inch piece of fresh ginger. And then I use a dash, about a tablespoon of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, and then just grind this into a paste. So see, what I get is about 2 teaspoons, and I use only 1 teaspoon in the marinade, and then I reserve the rest to add in the curry. So the 1 teaspoon of sea salt again to that, and I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, or you can also add apple cider vinegar, whatever is available. And for AIP, that's it. But if you are not AIP and if you've reintroduced some peppers, then I like to add about half a teaspoon of Kashmiri chili pepper powder, which is a mild form of chili pepper. But of course, if you want to keep it nightshade free, then avoid this. And also a dash, about a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and then mix everything well together and keep it aside. Next, I've chopped up 2 medium onions, and now I'm going to show you the spices. This is whole mace. Then I'm using cumin a little bit, and this is the spice called as dagat ful or stone flower. Now I have kept that as optional in this recipe, but it really provides a nice flavor, and a little goes a long way, so I'm just going to use like 1 large piece of it. And then next, other spice that I really recommend you use is kasuri methi or dried fenugreek, and I'm using 1 teaspoon. I use a little more than 1 teaspoon, but you could start with about 1 teaspoon. Now heat a white bottom pan and add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, or you can also use avocado oil or coconut oil. Now I'm adding those spices that I showed you before: the cumin, the dried fenugreek, the whole mace, and the whole dagat ful. Now make sure that your oil is medium hot and not super hot. See, I just rescued this from burning because I took it off of the heat. So it does not have to be high heat, just medium heat, so that you don't burn the spices. And then add the onions, chopped up onions. And now again cook it on medium heat for about 2 to 3 minutes, stirring it frequently. And then you can add some salt. Yeah, just make sure that you're stirring it frequently when you're cooking this. And I added about a half teaspoon of salt, and then I have about 10 to 12 cranberries. I'm using frozen cranberries. You can use either fresh or frozen. Now remember, these are the substitute for tomatoes, so they gives these give the tartness to the curry. And then adding the remaining ginger garlic paste, which is about 1 teaspoon or so, and then again stir for a couple minutes, and then cover and cook on low for about 3 to 4 minutes. Now next we add the pumpkin puree. So I'm using canned organic pumpkin puree, but you can also use homemade pumpkin puree if you have it. And then just mix it for a few seconds and turn the heat off. And then if you're going to blend this thing in a blender, so use a large size blender jar, because since this is hot mixture, you have to be very careful when blending any kind of hot mixture or hot liquids. You don't want the steam to escape and kind of burst open the jar. So be extremely careful. And I have pureed this, see, into a fine puree. Next, going to again heat up that same pan with additional oil. I'm adding about 1/4 cup of more of oil, and then I'm going to lightly fry the marinated chicken pieces. Now if your pan is smaller, you can just do it in batches, but since I have a big pan here, I'm doing it kind of all at once. And basically we just want, we're not going to cook it completely, we're just cooking it for 3 to 4 minutes on each side, so that it gets like a nice like a brownish, some brownish spots on it, but it doesn't have to be completely cooked. So after 3 or 4 minutes you just turn it and cook again for the same time on the other side, about 2 to 3 minutes on the other side as well. So now this has been cooking on the other side, and I'm going to finally again turn it. So basically about 6 to 7 minutes these chicken pieces have been cooking. They've not completely cooked, so you do not need to cook them completely, because they need to finish the cooking in the gravy. Okay, so now we add the blended mixture, and now we're going to add additional water to this gravy. So to the rest of the thing in the jar, I'm going to add water, and that's about 1 cup of water that I have mixed. You can add a little bit more if you like a little bit thinner gravy. This is going to result in like a really thick curry. So if you would like your curry to be a little more watery, you can add more water. And now I'm just carefully kind of stirring it, because some of the chicken pieces are kind of stuck to the pan. And then you don't have to worry, once you cover and cook it, they're all going to nicely kind of come off, and you're going to result in you're going to get a smooth curry. So now I'm going to cover and cook for about 5 minutes on low heat, and see, your curry is ready, almost ready. We have a couple more things to add just to finish off, and that's going to be a little bit of cinnamon spice that I like to add in the end. So I'm using ground cinnamon, half a teaspoon, and I'm also going to add a little bit of sweetener. So I'm going to add coconut sugar, 1 teaspoon, which is AIP approved. For keto, you could either add a sweetener of your choice, or you can skip it altogether. But a little bit of sweetness makes this curry really more delicious, and it becomes like a sweet, sour, and a little bit of spicy. So it's perfect harmony of flavors. there you go, your butter chicken is ready. Enjoy. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel if you like this recipe. Thank you.